This video contains information that may be offensive and disturbing to some people. If you are a viewer and are triggered or shocked by images and need a warning prior to every clip or story being discussed, then please unsubscribe from my channel immediately. My channel covers the harsh reality of even the worst crimes imaginable and is for adults only. For those of you who fit into this category, take this message as your warning and don't watch any further. Yeah, had that the darkness on there again. Hey, thanks Angela, Joanne, Billy Boy Blue, and Alice Banco becoming new members. Awesome. Very cool. Well, how's everybody doing tonight? Hey, Richard Watts, are you in church like 24/7? And you just come out to watch the show? I'm just curious. Because every single show, you're just coming out of church. Oh, really? He actually literally lives there. Huh. That's awesome. I don't know if that's a joke or... Yeah, great here. Oh, okay. Seems like you're there like every second. Well, good for you, Richard. I mean, I would have believed that one, Kubi, to be honest with you. Yeah. And here's the thing too, you guys, of you know, I know that I don't have great shows every single time and all that kind of stuff, but what I don't need, or do I even give a damn if you want to send me an email saying, gosh, you know, that show wasn't that great. I didn't like the way you know, it's so weird. Just think how weird that is. You know, to actually let somebody know that. Why don't you just, you know, show up to a bunch of shows, and, you know, if they're all like that, then don't watch it ever again. Just go watch something else. Yeah, see, I have a couple of these. I wouldn't be surprised at all if that person that was on here last night claiming to be, you know, because what was weird is the suggestion of that case that we discussed was from somebody else, and I'm just not a big coincidence type person. So you have somebody just randomly sitting in the chat about a random case who happen to be all up in it. Yeah, I don't buy any of that stuff at all. Yeah, I think those are people that purposely do what they do to get a reaction, and then they send me an email pretending to be somebody else and act all indignant about it. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I was talking, Zozo believes that was all real. Oh, yeah. Even though it makes no sense mathematically. Yeah, I ate popcorn out stuck in my... Oh yeah, you really live in a church? Well, I know you want to believe him, Rebecca, but I'm just telling you, none of it made sense. Yeah. See, I do this stuff for a long time, so I know, you know. Yeah, wow, his mom was the coroner and he found the items. Wow. What a miracle on a case nobody was ever talking about. And then some other person brings it up. Man. You know what the odds of that are? Like 1 in a billion. Okay? Let's see. Well, there's nothing on last night's show to, like, all that person's comments are gone, I think. It was kind of a frustrating show for me. Just a lot of, not only that, newspapers.com changed the way they work right in the middle of the show. I worked with it today. Kind of, in some aspects, it's a little bit better, but and just a lot of stuff. Because it's easy, Rebecca. It's simple. you just say it out loud. People do that all the time. What are you talking about? Social media is made up of people pretending. They try to insinuate themselves into cases and pretend that they're really important all the time. Like they really are just so wow. Okay, it happens all the time. Literally like every single day. So for me, it's just watching someone just doing what people do all the time. And then when I asked the person to quit talking about I was trying to work through the case, he just kept doing it. Okay, so that shows that there was another motive there. Okay, it wasn't really, yeah, exactly. Yeah, you do live in a bubble. Yeah, that's just my opinion of it, and I'm, really feel pretty certain of it. Yeah. Just like we had another person that was a channel member, but it was all just a trick. It was amazing. I'm not going to tell you who it was or anything about it, but, I just found that out. And I kind of knew there was something up the whole time. Same shit, Man, we only have 59 people here, but something must not have gone out. Or just either that or just all of a sudden, in one day, nobody's watching. But I'm going to be doing a show tomorrow around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, my time. Is it members only? I don't think so. Oh yeah, it does look like that though, doesn't it? Oh, let me try that. I switched it off of that. It's pretty bizarre. Oh man. You're right, it is still set like that. God, how crazy is that? Alright, let's see if it works now. Does it show up publicly now? See if somebody go out and check. That's so weird. I changed it, took it off of that. And then it didn't save it. I hope it means that... Huh. See if it shows up there now as a public video. All we need to do, I should have noticed that there wasn't anybody that wasn't blue or, well, it had to have been because 3 people became members, right? There was a bunch of people who became members and they wouldn't have been able to see that because they weren't moderators. Oh, there we go. Okay, there's a couple that just showed up right there. All right. Weird. Yeah, thanks for suggesting that, because it's weird. I actually knew that I had it set that way earlier and switched it, but it didn't take for some reason. So I'll just yap away here for a minute to let people show up so they don't go, what's going on? What is this? What is this? Oh, really? Cool. Well, maybe I should do that more often then. Members only, right? I mean, what's, that the lower level, right? $1.99 a month. I should have made that like $2.99, but because all of that goes towards the end of the month too, the same percentage. Oh yeah, I had no I can't see if I have any thumbs down, but I trust you. Yeah, well, the thing is there's still only 70 people, so I don't think it works the same if you go public after the fact. I think YouTube sort of sends out. If you guys want to go out and post it somewhere, that'd be great, but it's just not going to. They don't do the same sort of recommendation. If you set it up like 15 minutes before, it immediately blasts out something. But if you've already doing a show and you switched it, I don't think it works like that. Yeah, I'm not going to start over again. Anyways, thanks, Billy Boy Blue. Oh man, well, that's I didn't realize that. I was wondering, like, wow, look at that, 4 new members, and it was really just because they wanted to come watch a members only. I thought that it's weird that it was listed like that, though. Interesting. I didn't know it worked like that. So it actually showed up, but it just said you can only watch if you're a member, huh? Weird. I guess that's a good way to, build up your membership.
LMAO, Doody screwed me out of $2.
Yeah. Sorry about that, Billy Boy Blue. Alright. Anyways, I'm going to switch over to what we're going to be discussing now. Yeah, so everybody who sent in cases yesterday, I'm gonna actually cover all of those at some point. They're just in a folder. But tonight I'm just gonna cover. I don't know if this will be my longest show in the history of the world, but last night was 4 hours again, so I don't want to do that. I've had 2 4-hour shows lately. Hey, Miss Skist, did that lady ever get back to you? The mother of the one missing person? I tried getting a hold of her, but she never got back. Billy Boy Blue, he needed the money. Yep, that's right.
I heard Billy Boy Blue needs money. Lol, open mouth, smile, winking face.
Yeah? I don't know if it's doing any better. I haven't seen anything that it's hard to tolerate. Yeah. It's weird because over on my other monitor I'm like, so that looks way too low there. I like being able to sit low. There you go. But the main monitor. Oh, Chloe likes popcorn, by the way, but she'll take one piece, run about 50 feet away, eat it, and then come back. Oh yeah, it like it really starts hurting last night, but yeah, it's better than it was. It starts stinging. I don't know what the stinging part is. You know, it's a little bit numb in my neck, obviously, because I had to cut through the... But it's definitely, I feel like when I got out of the hospital, I was about 10% strength, and now I'm like 30. So hey, it's getting better. Getting better. Not saying that's anything to write home about, but would anybody actually write home about anything like that? Yeah, I feel like I'm too low now. There we go. All right, you guys ready? We're gonna do the alphabet murders, and I'm just doing. I didn't. There was somebody said there was another situation like that in California. I don't know. I'm just doing the ones in New York that we started to do, and then it looks like it was a little bit bigger than I thought it was going to be. Yeah. Okay. So the first person that was killed in that weird alphabet murders, and what it is their first and last name start with the same letter. Each victim. So it might be like, you know, Mary Mohan or Julie Jones or, you know, Billy Boy Blue or Billy Blue. It could be anything, you know. But, you know, the thing is I don't even think that's that rare when parents do that. Because it sort of sounds better for some reason. When you do that. Yeah, I don't know if it's like a... I don't know what you mean by conspiracies or anything like that. But it's interesting that all three of these kids have their names like that. I just don't know how the killer would have access to what their name is. Maybe mail or something. But there was actually 4. I found a 4th one as well, which I thought was pretty interesting. So, anyways, that's what we're doing right now, is those the cases that were considered the alphabet murders. Oh, okay. All right, so here we go. This is when these started here. Missing girl 10 found slain. The body of a 10-year-old Rochester girl who vanished Tuesday, and this is Friday, while on a neighborhood errand, was found in a gully along a lonely road in the town of Riga yesterday.
She contacted me early on Facebook Messenger Grey. I assumed she would have reached out.
Okay.
Don't know why she hasn't. Maybe she was busy. Frowning face. I don't know. Frowning face.
Okay. All right. All right. So this is where she lives right here, or lived at the time, in this house. Still there. That looks like a house that was there in 1970. Probably updated a little bit here and there. And she died a violent death and had been raped, said Dr. John Edlin. He said the child had been dead for a day, maybe longer, and that he suspected she was asphyxiated. You know, every time I say that word correctly, I'm sort of happy inside. I always feel like I'm going to fumble on it. Edlin said the exact cause of death would be determined by an autopsy today. The 2 boys... Oh, hold on. Hey, thanks, Billy Boy Blue. Hold on, let me... I'm going to get this out of here.
I got a tip for Kubi and Zozo. Come see me at my apartment.
Yeah, he's got a tip for you guys. Two boys bicycling along Stearns Road just south of Jenkins Road discovered the body about 4:30 p.m. Sheriff Deputy Mark Deptford said. Mark Allen, 15 of 110. It's weird how they tell you the addresses of the people who found the bodies. You know, a guy named Mark and another person named James, they found the body. At first they thought she was a doll. Deptford said the body was in the open against a rock. Alright, so her body was found, it says on here, along Stearns Road just south of Jenkins Road. So I think I've got that. Let's see. So this is Stearns Road, and let's see if that's Jenkins Road. If it's just south, I think I just randomly put a pin near there, but I think if it's just south of Jenkins, then that would be where, because this is Jenkins right here, Stearns, and then just south, so it'd probably be like right in that area. Man, couldn't see the bottom of it. There it is. So, looks like she was found right in this general area here. I don't know what it looked like back then. Mark Allen, 15. So Mark Allen and James found them, and then the body was in the open against a rock. The dead girl was wearing only purple sweater, blue socks, and white sneakers when found. The coat and slacks she was wearing the day she disappeared were missing. There were marks near her throat and fingernail marks on the entire body. Jesus. Fingernail? Like somebody trying to catch her or something. That's weird. And here's her body was found right here in this picture. But she's already been put into a, for lack of a better term, body bag. Sheriff investigators searched the area into the night but found no clues. Deputies were stationed at the scene overnight. Another extensive search of the gully and nearby fields will be made at daylight today, Under Sheriff Andrew Maloney said. When the boys discovered the body, city police still were searching the Bull's Head area where Carmen was last seen. The girl, who lived in Puerto Rico for 5 years, spoke little English. She had been living at the Brown Street address with her parents, Mr. and Mrs. Felix Colon. City Detective Leslie Gale said Carmen's mother, Mrs. Guillomina Colon of 72 Romaine Street, was visiting at the Brown Street home Tuesday afternoon. He said she sent Carmen to Jack's drugstore at 898 Main Street West. Let's see where that is. 898 Main Street West. And that would be in Rochester. Rochester, New York. Man. So it looks like maybe that's not there anymore. Let's see if it's there back in 94. Yeah, there's something there. Let's see. think that makes sense because she lived just right there. I mean, so it's just a simple little, I mean, just kind of picture this right here, watch. Like that's where she lived, and all she was supposed to do was go down here to where the store was and get something. We don't know, but really simple. I wonder how long ago that was actually removed. Oh, there's still something, there's that, okay, 2016, there's still something there. And then back then it even looked like there was more shops in 2005. And obviously they just, you know, that actually might be, this might be before that though, because a lot of these 3D versions are a lot older. Although that's, let's see. Okay, that's July 2018 right there. So there could already be something rebuilt there. But anyways, that was the walk just right there. Mother told her to go get something there. And there was obviously some where she was found. Let's see. He said she sent Carmen to Jack's drugstore at 898 Main Street West, about a block and a half away, to get a prescription filled for another Colon child who was ill. The druggist told detectives Carmen came in about 4:30 p.m., left the prescription and her mother's Medicaid card, then left when told it would take a few minutes. Oh, weird. So she just kind of walked out of the store for a few minutes. When, see, that drugstore guy probably feels bad too. Because had he said, okay, I'll give it to you right now, she might have just gone straight home. Okay, so, you know, she went into the store. She left the prescription and her mother's Medicaid card there, then left when told it would take a few minutes. When she didn't return home, an uncle began searching the neighborhood. The family reported the girl missing at 7:50 p.m. Tuesday, police said. Detectives have been unable to locate anyone who saw Carmen after she left the drugstore. See, isn't that just ridiculous? Just something so freaking simple like that. I mean, how many of these have we seen lately? Oh, you guys aren't even following along. That's cool, though. I'll just... Here we go. Motorists on Route 490 West had a chance. Listen to how crappy this shit is right here, though. And that might even explain, I just remembered that this was here, might explain the scratches, right? Motorists on Route 490 West had a chance to save Carmen Colon's life. So let's see where 490 West is. Now, right there. And then where was she found again? Oh, yeah, yeah. See, look at that. She was found way down here, and then 490 was probably a way to get out of there, and then zip down like this, take this exit or something, and, you know, it's just... Oh, man. I'll just put something here. So it says, motorists on Route 490 West had a chance to save Carmen Colon's life Tuesday night and didn't. The 10-year-old girl had jumped from her abductor's car and ran nude along the highway during rush hour traffic. Can you imagine? In a desperate bid to safety, but no one stopped to help her. Man, I just want to, like, any car that passed her needs to be hit in the head with a baseball bat. Her abductor, who had lured her into his car in the Bull's Head area of Rochester, that's probably right next to her house. Let me see, Bull's Head, Rochester. Oh, excuse me, I didn't spell that right. Yeah, I mean, that's right in where she lives, so she was just abducted right outside the store, basically. Her abductor, who had lured her into the car in Bull's Head area of Rochester an hour before, he recaptured the terrified child and strangled her, police said. Man, I just think how horrible that is. She made the effort to go out there. Wow, I'm glad that's some funny shit there, Mysterious Monkey. Yeah, so imagine having having the guts to break free and having hundreds of people drive by this nude little child running down the road and not one the abductor was probably like, oh God, I'm gonna get out. And then he noticed, look at all these idiots in society. And then he goes and grabs her again somehow. I mean, how did that happen? Oh man, that's just ridiculous. The account of Carmen's run for help was revealed yesterday by 3 young men who came forward to admit they were among those who didn't stop. I went by so fast, a Leroy man told detectives. I couldn't believe what I saw. A man from Batavia said to his passenger after they had passed the naked girl, "Shall we go back?" They didn't, he said, because I felt someone behind us was in better position. Yeah, everyone else, hey, someone else will do it. Somebody else will do it. All those people should be ashamed of themselves for the rest of their lives. Man, are you on like drugs, Mysterious Monkey? You're just like chuckling up a storm. It seems like it would be something that wouldn't be as funny. Maybe you have the volume off. Yeah, a man from Batavia said to his passenger after they had passed the naked girl, "Shall we go back?" No, they didn't do it. By the time he thought about it, what he had seen, he said it was too late. Really, I didn't expect anything sinister. I thought at first maybe a parent had stopped to allow a child to go into the bathroom or something. He said he was sick when he read that the body of a 10-year-old girl was found in a ditch along Stearns Road in Riga. So that's when he probably realized, wow, we didn't do shit, and we're, God, I would just move the hell out of there. I don't even know what I would do. I would be so angry at the citizens, If I was the parents. I knew it was the girl we had seen. How I wish now that I had stopped to see what was the matter, he said, at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office last night. The man came into the office with his... At least a few of them had the guts to come in. Right? They had the guts. The man came to the office with his passenger, a man from Oakland in Genesee County, and told what they had seen Tuesday night. The motorist from Leroy did the same. So there was a lot of other people that were really ashamed and never went in there. These people were ashamed and at the same time wanted to at least say what they saw. The motorist from Leroy did the same. He told Sheriff Detective Sergeant Donald Clark and Rochester Detective John Vadas that there were a dozen cars around me, he said. The expressway was mobbed, and that probably 100 cars passed the girl. When he got home, he said it bothered him that he hadn't stopped. He discussed what happened with his wife. He said that his inaction still was gnawing at him yesterday. Yeah. When his wife called him at work and told him of a slain 10-year-old girl. Both he and Batavia motorists said they also saw a car backing along the shoulder toward the girl as she ran away from it. The girl's hand was raised, possibly as a signal for help. Oh man, God. This is making me like bummed out, It's like, I hadn't even read this stuff. Just the part where, just the first paragraph of the girl's hand was raised, possibly as a signal for help. Detectives said the car apparently was the killer's car. Let's see. Both he and Batavia motorists said they saw a car backing along the shoulder towards the girl. Oh yeah, so he was backing up trying to get her, and she was running. The girl's hand was raised, possibly as a signal. So he was driving. She got out and ran backwards. So he started backing up on the shoulder. Yeah, what a nightmare. Detective said the car apparently was the killer's car. They had a description of it, but declined to release it. The motorists who saw the girl at 5:30 p.m. Tuesday were in the westbound lane of Route 490. Let's see, so they were in the westbound lane of Route 490 West, about a mile or two east of Churchville exit. Let's see where that is. Oh, yeah, so this makes even more sense now. So that's 490, and that would have been the Churchville exit, I would imagine, since you can take an exit and go right there. So let's take this. Second, it said motorists who saw the girl at 5:30 Tuesday were in the westbound lane of Route 490 West, about a mile or two east of the. Okay, so east of it. So let's see. So right in this area here. Yeah, so just imagine this. He's driving like this. It must have been really slow, like rush hour, you know, where cars are going slow. And then she got out, and then he sort of like gets in this lane and then backs up, and people saw her running, and they didn't do shit. And it could have been on that side too, I guess. It's one way. The location is a few miles from the seldom traveled Stearns Road, where two boys found Carmen's body about 4:30 p.m. So just look how shitty this whole thing is. So right after that, look where her body was found. So the guy gets her right there and then immediately takes that exit, you know, and then comes down here and however he got there, found another, you know, one of these side roads, killed her and dumped her body right. And she had scratches on her. On her. That means I can see when she was running, she didn't have any clothes on, right? So he's grabbing at her with his hands, and he's the one that he just put scratches on her body because she didn't have any clothes on. That's crazy. Yeah, what a freaking nightmare that is. Let's see. And then it said the location is a few miles from the seldom traveled Stearns Road, where two boys found Carmen's body about 4:30 p.m. Thursday. Dr. John Edlin, Monroe County medical examiner, yesterday said the girl had been strangled and raped and had suffered a fractured skull and fractures in the neck area. The girl he was probably like, "How dare you try to run?" You know. The girl vanished while on an errand to a Bull's Head drugstore for her mother about 4:30 p.m. Tuesday, so she wasn't found until almost exactly 2 days later. She lived at 746 Brown Street. She was clad only in a sweater, sneakers, and socks when found. Sheriff Deputy William Yoder later found her coat in a culvert about 300 feet from where her body was discovered. Well, let's go find that then. Let's see where there might be a culvert. Culvert would only happen where there's a creek, so maybe right there. I don't know. It's hard to. That definitely looks like that could have been a place because of the foliage on both sides. You know, but you gotta remember this is 50 years ago. So when they said south, maybe they meant north. Let's see if there's another one. Because earlier I had the pin on this side. Yeah, just think about that. Yeah, just awful. Yeah, same shit like April Tinsley, same thing. Just a kid doing, you know, that's why eventually when the hard lefties make pedophilia acceptable in society, just kind of don't let it happen, okay? Because it will. They're already making the arguments. I've told you guys this before. The arguments are being made. Well, they can't control how they feel. As long as they don't act out on it, I mean, shouldn't we just... I don't know. How about we just get rid of them, you know? Let's see. So they said it was south. In that one article said south of Jenkins Road. And I can't see any culverts for some reason. Could just be gone at this point. I don't even see any up here. There could be one. I'm just... Yeah, see, that's all the road is just right there. And a culvert's usually just when there's a creek passing. Let's see what this... And a lot of times when you see a tree line out in the middle of nowhere, that could be what that is. You know, and there definitely could be like a little tiny creek there. We don't know though. "300 feet, huh? Okay, I'm just gonna start right here and just go right to where I have that pin and see if there's anything. Make an effort. Man, how are you guys talking about crabs and things like that? Yeah, but a culvert is a pipe that goes underneath the road. That's what a culvert is. So if it's not what they're referring to, I don't have any way of knowing anything about where she was found. Now, it doesn't have to be made out of concrete, Gene. It could be made out of metal, anything. Yeah, well, they didn't say drainage ditch. They said culvert. There's a big difference, okay? So if there isn't a culvert here, then that means I can't tell you where the spot is. Because there's ditches all around, all over the place. Thanks, Michelle Nicholas. And so this is where it crosses that Jenkins. I mean, earlier it said south of Jenkins. So, anyways, let's just say within somewhere around her body, 300 feet away, 300 feet from her body, they found her coat in a culvert. Carmen's slacks and underclothing still haven't been located. District Attorney Jack Lazarus. What's weird is she was already naked while she was in that car. So he was probably already finished and he was going to kill her. So he'd already done what he was going to do and he was just, oh man, God, that makes that so much worse. Because you know when she escaped, she was on the road to being killed. He had already done what he was going to be doing. Because she would be fully dressed still when she was running on the road, if not, right? Because why would you do that? So he actually had her in the car. He may have thought he strangled her, but she pretended to be alive and then got out of the car and ran, and not a soul helped her. Not a soul. Oh man. And so that's what he was doing. He was actually just on the drive to kill her and dump her body. And she made an escape during that. Carmen's slacks and underclothes still haven't been found. District Attorney Jack Lazarus last night asked others who saw the girl to call police. All calls will be confidential. City and sheriff's detectives last night were questioning a suspect in the case and were examining the vehicle. The Lend a Hand Fund for the Gannett Rochester newspaper yesterday donated $200. Wow, good job. 200 isn't even a lot back then. All right, and then this is the following day. $2,500 reward was established yesterday by Gannett Rochester newspapers for information leading to the arrest. Her body was discovered, and now it says a Riga ditch. Okay, so now it's not. This article doesn't say culvert, but the other one did. But we aren't going to get to know. There's a lot of ditches there. 2 days after she disappeared from a shopping plaza near her grandparents' Brown Street home, persons with information about the slaying can call it that number, but that's irrelevant at this point. Callers with information may identify themselves or may remain anonymous. Yeah, so let's see what page 2 had on it. Okay, that's just more about the reward. And then 2 weeks later, a futile wave by a 10-year-old girl. So now they're going to actually talk about that again. Evening rush hour traffic streamed out of downtown Rochester. On the outskirts of the business district, cars and trucks swung into the 4-lane Interstate 490 highway and picked up speed. It was 5:30 p.m. Tuesday, November 16th. For most of the motorists, I wonder how she got out of the car. Because now that I think about it, there was cars zooming by. So how in the hell did she just roll out of it at a quick pace and didn't get injured because she's so light? You know, I don't know. For most of the motorists, it was the end of another routine day at the office or plant. Then something happened that made that day different from all other days. As the cars bore down on the Route 36 interchange a little girl suddenly appeared out of the darkness along the shoulder of the road. She was naked, or nearly so, and some witnesses said she was waving, as if trying to hail passing cars. They all noticed an auto along the shoulder of the road backing towards the girl. This is one of the worst things I've ever heard. Police now believe, for some reason it's worse. It's even worse, you know? Like, it just makes it a lot worse. Well, it means maybe she had like a shirt on, Billy Boy Blue. I mean, just kind of obvious. I don't know if you need like clarification there. It's pretty simple to figure out. Police now believe that what the driver saw was possibly the last desperate plea for help by Carmen Colon, 10, a petite Puerto Rican child who had been abducted from her Rochester neighborhood only an hour before. Somehow, police theorize she momentarily escaped from the abductor in the car. Yeah, I was like, how? You know, they're sort of like somehow. She momentarily escaped from her abductor in the car along the shoulder in a frantic brake for safety. But nobody stopped. And 2 days later, almost at the same hour of the day, Carmen's body was found in a ditch in a remote section 2 miles away. An autopsy showed she had been raped and strangled. Why didn't one of the hundreds of motorists who passed the girl by stop to help her? I couldn't believe what I saw, one motorist said. Another driver said he thought the girl had been let out of the auto to go to the bathroom. The reaction of the drivers bears out much of the research done by Dr. Victor Harris, a social psychologist at the State University at Buffalo. Harris, who has investigated so-called crowd apathy, said, "There's a question of whether, in fact, people even notice there's an emergency. They may see something going on, but not at a conscious level. If an off-duty policeman had seen the child, he would have been more apt to react quickly to the situation and stop. Then again," Harris said, "there's the question, should I help? There's a belief in our society, you know, that everybody should mind his own business. It's a good idea in a way, but sometimes it can have bad consequences." Meantime, the search for the murderer and rapist goes on. The Colons said they feared neighborhood dope addicts, so they required that the 65-pound Carmen, not sure what it's saying there, with long brown hair and brown eyes, played only with her cousins and neighborhood youngsters. At 4:30 p.m. Thursday, 2 boys were pedaling bicyclists on Stearns Road in the town of Riga, 15 miles from Rochester, when they spotted what they at first thought was a broken doll in a ditch along the road. The broken doll turned out to be Carmen, and she was dead. Her body was lying against a boulder, clad only in her sweater, socks, and sneakers. The body bore what appeared to be fingernail scratches. Police believe the child was sexually assaulted and strangled elsewhere. There you go, see? Possibly in the car. I think that's exactly what happened. I think she was on her way to be dumped, and I think he had to strangle her a second time. I think he thought she was dead. He already did what he was going to do, and he was just on the way to dump her body somewhere, and she somehow came awake from, and that happens quite often, to be honest with you, from being strangled, and she escaped, and then he drove her, probably quickly strangled her again somewhere else, and then found a place to dump her body. On November 21st, 2 days after the girl's death, there was a new development. A penciled noted, or I think it just means note, it says noted though, was found scribbled on a men's room door in a downtown building. It said, "I killed a 10-year-old girl. Who will be next?" Wow. That's pretty crazy right there, isn't it? I didn't know that part. So there was a note. Men's room door in a downtown building. It said, "I killed a 10-year-old girl. Who will be next?" Could just be some sick idiot, or literally the killer, trying to taunt somebody. And then about 6 weeks later, pictures of Carmen Colon, a 10-year-old girl who was raped and strangled last November, have been posted on 5 billboards. Well, I think it's great that they put that on billboards to remind the idiots who drove by over and over again. Every single day they get a look in shame at this billboard of a person that you didn't try to save. It makes me sick. If you're zooming by, at least call the cops or something. Like if you can't stop on a freeway, Nobody called the cops, though. They all just waited for a body to be found. Okay, so there's that, and let me see, I have one more from this one. And it just says, her murder may go unsolved. Yep, and it's still unsolved today. The murder of Carmen Colon, a case that drew national attention, may never be solved unless some solid new lead develops, sheriff detectives say. Hey, thanks, Lee D. And they say the possibility of such a clue coming to light diminishes with each day that passes. Carmen 10 was found half naked, strangled and raped in a ditch along Stearns Road in Riga, east of Churchville on November 16, 1971. Police believe she was abducted in a car from the Bull's Head area near her home while running an errand for her grandparents, and we know that she was there to go get some medicine. Left the ID there. Detectives said that at least 100 passing motorists ignored a chance to save the girl's life when she made a brief dash to get home from her abductor. Despite the fact that no solid leads have materialized, Sheriff Detective Sergeant Donald Clark... Didn't they get a good description of the vehicle, though? Seems like that should have led to something. Clark admits that leads in the case are dwindling. Many of those leads don't look very promising. And that's probably when they should come out now with the type of car that was seen. And that would generate more leads. And there might be somebody that said, oh man, I know somebody has that same kind of car, and he was cleaning it all day yesterday. That might have led to something. But if you wait 6 months later, nobody remembers anything like that. And that's what one of the things in the Delphi case that always bugs me, is that they could have came forward with some of that video early on, that extra audio early on. It wasn't difficult. They try to make it seem like it was hard to. And then also mention the vehicle that was parked in that area. And then the closer to the crime, the better memory people have. Although sometimes in social media world, people get this great memory. Oh yeah, I saw that, because they all want to be the hero. Okay, but in reality, what you really want is to quickly get stuff out there so that people can, just go, oh yeah, that, if it's just like 3 days ago, they're going to remember it. Yeah, I don't think it has anything to do with the uncle. Let's see. So now we're moving on to the next one. All right. Let me go back. Hold on. Go to the last one again. And so the first one was Carmen Colon. So, CC. This is why they call it alphabet murders. And then the next one is Wanda Walkowicz. I think that's the one that somebody sent me yesterday. A man with, and this is 1973. And so it's only about 15 months later. MUNTS. A man with a buckle on his shoe. Let's see. He was in the bushes by the railroad tracks. They ran all the way home. Excuse me. Whoa. I just inhaled a piece of my... or something. I don't know what happened right there, but... yeah. Let's see. They ran all the way home. That was last Sunday night. Then yesterday it was pictures shown to neighbors by detectives. They were of a known sex offender with a big nose and big ears. Wanda Walkowicz was with another girl Saturday when they saw the man. The girl said he chased them. It was reported to police, but too late. The man was gone. Then, like Monday night, Wanda Walkowicz, 11, was on her way home with the Hillside Delicatessen on Conkey, from the Hillside Delicatessen on Conkey Avenue. So I have this one. So right there was the delicatessen, apparently, that she went to. She was last seen right here at this intersection.
Hey Gray,
but she lived right there.
Shush is kinda the best person ever.
All right, Billy Boy Blue. So here's where Wanda lived. The house isn't there anymore. You can see it's absolutely blank. And then there's a... look how close again. That's just so similar to the other story. Just going out on an errand to get some food. And then she's seen right here. What needs out? Man, this has just become like a social place. I mean, it's cool and everything, but it just gets so frustrating. You know, there's not any comments about anything that we're talking about. Wanda Walkowicz was with another girl Saturday when they saw the man. The girl said, okay, let me get down here. Then, like Monday night, Wanda Walkowicz, 11, was on her way home from Hillside Delicatessen. She made it there on Conkey Avenue. But on Monday night, Wanda never came back to her home on Avenue D, a block from the railroad tracks. Wanda's body was dumped off Route 104 about 10 miles away yesterday morning. She'd been raped and strangled to death. Avenue D remembers Wanda as a happy little redhead who liked to take charge. In the little group she hung around with, Wanda always was the leader, although some of the other girls were a little older and bigger, says Chuck Stekma at the Avenue D Playground Recreation Center. Let's see. I guess it was around Christmas time when they all were in here on about Santa Claus. Let's see. Wanda left the Hillside Delicatessen at 213 Conkey Avenue at about 5:30. So that's only about an hour after the other incident. She told me to hurry up. She was in a hurry. Bill Van Orden, a clerk in Hillside, says he pulls out his book with the Walkowitz's charge account. And Wanda's charged $6.76. Now this girl's 11. She went out with one large bag filled with dog and cat food, tuna fish, 2 quarts of milk, bread, cupcakes, soup, and Pampers for their half-sister, Michelle. Michelle, 2-year-old. It doesn't say, it just says, so I guess Pampers for her half-sister named Michelle, who's 2 years old. Van Orden says Wanda walked north out of the delicatessen towards her home. See? I mean, look how it just perfectly matches up. She goes in there, buys that stuff, walks north. And Wanda's sister, Rita, 10, came into the store about 6:45 p.m. asking for Wanda. So Wanda's sister went in there and said, "Hey, where is she?" Asking for Wanda. She bought more groceries. Just the girls did the shopping, and Joyce would come in and pay the bills, Van Orden says. Police came after that to the last known place where Wanda was seen. Joyce Walkowicz came into the delicatessen about 8 p.m. looking for Wanda, Van Orden says. By then, neighbors and police were prowling the railroad tracks. I wonder where those railroad tracks are. They probably don't exist anymore. I don't see any railroad tracks just around right there. I bet you they don't exist. They probably turned it into a road or something. I mean, there's none that are just right next to it. I bet you this used to be a railroad track. This path that's in there now. Let's see what happens if I go back to like... Yeah, and see how that's not a path now, but I bet you that used to be a railroad track. Right through there, see that? And look how, yep, and see how it does that little curve like that? There's no way that wasn't a railroad. Yeah, there you go. Boom. And there's the bridge that was a railroad bridge. So, okay. So there we go. See? That's what you get on this show. You get to figure stuff out. Well, we don't know. See, when people name their kids a lot of times, they do name their kid with a letter that's the same as their last name. So whether that was all intentional or not, we don't know. And see, there's that railroad track following that exact path to right there, and then it becomes like a little sidewalk now, and that's why they were checking on this railroad track. Yeah. The little redhead and her bag of groceries were gone. It's a neighborhood where a little girl missing that long means trouble. Joyce Walkowicz knew it. She had to be treated for shock at Rochester General Hospital. We were afraid of something like this might happen someday. A detective asked Joyce if she was aware that Wanda had been followed home on Saturday night. All she could say was yes. Wanda's younger sister Rita is staying with Miss Souls now. Rita, a tiny blonde, had her 10th birthday the day they found her sister's body. Miss Souls' warning about not going out at night are repeated along Avenue D and along the streets by the railroad tracks. One of Wanda's friends, Frances Icecamp 12 of 118 Avenue D, says she and Wanda went to Maplewood Park just across the Genesee River on Sunday. I don't go down the other way, down by the tracks, though, Francine says. A neighbor who won't allow her name to be used says we try to keep the kids in front of the house, not let them wander. But it's the same here as anywhere. You don't go out alone. Let's see. Wanda and her sister used to come in and clean our house. Yeah. And I do have a map here, so in an image. See, this is them finding Wanda's body right here. Looks like it's near some sort of a bale of hay or something. I got a map right here. Oh yeah, this is the one that was found. She was found. We started mapping this out yesterday. So she was found on this side of the river, right in this area. And I wouldn't be surprised if that road wasn't there and just laid it, whatever it was, they drove right over here and just dumped her body right off the side there. Wouldn't surprise me one bit. And I would imagine if that, I'd be shocked if that wasn't there. See, there you go. That's 94. That's there. And I bet you, even if you could go back, let me see if I can. Let's see what happens if I can get back. I can't go back much. Well, there you go. 84. Yeah, I think I can kind of still make that out. See how it's lighter right there? Yeah, that's the same thing. I think that verified it. Yeah, so that was there at least in 84. And again, there was another 10 years before this, but I would think that would be a likely place. You drive over the river on sort of a secluded little spot there, and he dumped her body right there. And that's kind of where I had the pin anyways. And that's actually her right there. I mean, just a tiny little thing. And this is another article. An 11-year-old girl was found raped and strangled near the Webster side of the Iron Decoy Bay Bridge yesterday. Yesterday forenoon. Not sure what, maybe it meant before noon. Let's see. Yesterday forenoon. I've never seen that word, so. About 14 hours after she was reported missing. Dr. John F. Edlin, Monroe County Medical Examiner, confirmed that Wanda Walkowicz of 132 Avenue D was raped and strangled, possibly with a belt, late Monday. State and city police investigating the slang said last night that there were no suspects. The girl, a pupil at School 8, was running an errand for her mother, Mrs. Joyce Walkowicz, when she disappeared, police said. Mrs. Walkowicz had notified police Monday night that she was missing. Wanda and a 9-year-old girlfriend had been followed by a stranger Saturday night as they walked along the State Street branch of the Penn Central Railroad tracks that parallel Conkey Avenue, police said. A report on that incident said neither girl got a good look at the man's face because he hid behind a bush when he was spotted. I think we were reading about this last night. The other girl's mother filed the report Saturday night. The Walkowicz girl's body was found on a hillside beside a rest area access road. That makes sense. See, a rest area. Doesn't that look like a rest area that we were looking at? Route 104 at 10:15 a.m. yesterday by State Trooper Thomas Zimmer. Captain Richard Boland of the state police speculated the girl had been abducted in a car because her body was found about 10 miles from her home. See, another abduction in a car, a distance she hardly could have walked. Wanda's clothes were intact when she was found. And then it says, I imagine she was raped and killed somewhere else. And then the killer put her clothes back on, Edlin said. It looks like she was tossed out of the car as the killer drove by. Edlin said there were marks on Wanda's neck and marks on the body that indicated she had struggled with her attacker. She was such a tiny little thing. I don't think she was capable of putting up much of a struggle, he said. Police described Wanda as about 4 foot tall, 65 pounds, with red hair, freckles, and blue eyes. Yeah, what a nightmare. Yeah, let's see. The neighbor wasn't identified. Police have refused to reveal the name of any witnesses. Richard Chechi of 191 Oneida Street, a clerk at the deli. Katesson Delicatessen, who was there when Wanda came in Monday, said the girl came in the store almost every night and sometimes twice after school. She seemed like a fairly intelligent girl and not the type to get into a car with any stranger, he said. Wanda was reported missing. And why would she get into a car when it's like 2 blocks from her house, right? Police said her body was identified at the medical examiner's office by Mrs. Walkowicz, common-law husband Patton Rainey, Jr. Mrs. Walkowicz was treated for shock at Rochester General Hospital Monday night after the girl disappeared. She was treated again yesterday morning, shortly after the girl's body was found, and remained at the hospital until mid-afternoon. Yeah, I mean, I totally understand, having to need some sort of drugs or something, when you lose a loved one. Sparacino said about 50 detectives combed the area near the girl's home, questioning residents. Several times he noted similarities between the slaying and rape murder of 10-year-old Carmen Colon on November 16, 1971. So now they're starting to, relate them. Both girls were approximately the same age and were abducted about the same hour of the day. And I was just saying that a little bit ago. I said it was only an hour later. Both were performing errands for their mothers when they disappeared. The Colon girl, a Puerto Rican child who lived on Brown Street, was found dead in a ditch on Stearns Road in the town of Riga, just off the Western Expressway. That slaying is unsolved as well. Yeah. Neither Sparacino nor Borland linked the two slayings. Beside her mother, Wanda Walkowicz is survived by sister Rita, 10, and a half-sister Michelle, 2. The girl's father, Richard, died 5 years ago at the age of 30 of a heart attack. That's unfortunate. Wanda's killer still at large. Police stumped in wide search. Police investigating the rape murder of 11-year-old Wanda Walkowicz said yesterday they were no closer to identifying her killer than they were Tuesday morning when a state trooper discovered her body near a roadside rest stop. That's the hardest part of any homicide investigation, said Detective Lieutenant Anthony Fantagrossi, establishing the link between the victim and the killer. See, that's the thing. Whenever you have no link, when you have serial killers, there's no link, and that's why they're so hard to solve a lot of times. Police said a neighbor spotted her there moments after she walked out of the grocery store. We still haven't got anyone who actually saw her get into a car, said Boland. Boland explained that in addition to questioning residents in the area around 132.5 Avenue D, where the girl lived, police also were asking known sex offenders to tell where they were at the time of Wanda's disappearance. Carmen Wanda link doubted by police. While a team of 50 detectives, why are they saying that? Because there's really no reason for them to say they doubt it. They're very similar. It's almost like they just don't want to scare people, so they say that. While a team of 50 detectives works to solve the slaying of Wanda Walkowicz, the investigation of a similar slaying, that of Carmen Colon 18 months ago, is infrequent because no solid leads have developed, sheriff detectives say. Despite the obvious similarities in the two cases, state and city investigators are not conceding that the two cases might somehow be linked. State police captain, they're linked by how they were committed. Maybe forensically, you guys weren't able to tell at the time. I hope that they collected DNA from all three, like these two and then the third victim. Clark investigated the Carmen Colon case. He admitted months ago that the crime may never be solved. With the help of God and a guilty conscience of the part of the murderer, we'll solve the case, he said. Yeah, so they obviously think that there may be a link there. And then the next day, An anonymous caller reported seeing a man force a small red-haired girl into a light-colored Dodge Dart late Monday near the girl's home. The caller described the man as white, of medium height, and armed with a knife or sharp instrument. State Police Captain Richard Boland and Rochester Detective Captain Anthony Fantagrossi said another caller reported seeing a similar automobile in a rest stop on Route 104 near the... Oh man, so that's in that same spot. The Walkowicz girl's body was found Tuesday by police in a roadside ditch near the bridge in suburban Webster. That's got to be the killer, that Dodge Dart. And, you know, that was 2 years, or a year and a half after the other one. The little freckled, so you could have easily got a new car once they realized that, you know, maybe somebody may have seen his car because it was on the freeway, right? Another rape recalled. Police said the girl may have been enticed into house near her home and attacked there. Authorities said they doubted there was any connection between Walkowicz girl's death and the rape murder of another young Rochester girl some 18 months ago. That girl, Carmen Colon, 10, was found dead in a roadside ditch in the Monroe County town of Regia. Yeah, they don't have forensic, but, you know, they're almost identical on how they happen. And then the next day, search for killer looks brighter. Not sure why they're saying that. Detective Captain Andrew Sparacino and Captain Richard Boland of the state police agreed that things are looking a lot brighter, but neither could say that 4 days of following promising leads have gotten them any closer. So far, no suspects have emerged from the intensive 40-man investigation, they said. They should have been looking for a blue Dodge Dart, right? More than 279 calls have been received by Gannett Rochester newspaper, Secret Witness. All right, so apparently they got excited about all the calls coming in. Yeah, so I don't think there's anything extra in that. And about 3 months later, Wanda's mother cannot forget. In a second-floor apartment at 132.5 Avenue D, a young mother spends a lot of time chain-smoking these days. Joyce Walkowicz is up to 3 packs a day now and is sure there is no turning back. It's hard for it to be like before, you might say impossible, says Mrs. Walkowicz. That's her right there. Stamping out one cigarette and lighting up another almost simultaneously. Mrs. Walkowitz's 11-year-old daughter, Wanda, was found raped and strangled in a Rochester suburb last April. A 4-month intensive murder investigation has failed to provide a single solid lead in the case. The crime shook the entire neighborhood, but now for most residents on the 100 block Avenue D, life is getting back to normal. That's one of the things that sucks. I don't know if any of you have lost a loved one. You know, at first everybody's sort of with you a little bit, like, you know, they understand your pain. Maybe they were friends too. But very quickly after that, you see them giggling and laughing about... There's nothing wrong that they're doing. You know, you see them giggling and laughing about ordinary things in life, having a good time again. And you almost kind of get angry. You know, irrationally angry. Like, how can you possibly be having any kind of fun at all when I'm feeling so miserable? Right? I mean, that's such a common... That's what I was feeling like. I remember just thinking, like in my fraternity, you know, all these idiots just goofing around, high-fiving, having a great old time, drinking up a storm, giggling, and I'm over there just And then a couple of them said, "Come on, Greg, get over it. Like a month later. Are you kidding me, you idiot?" Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. It just blows. Little girls again run up and down the narrow streets, too busy playing to worry about a shady-looking man who might lure them into a car. When the older persons gather on porch steps on hot summer nights, they're more apt to discuss Watergate than the little red-headed girl. See, this is exactly what I was talking about. Who disappeared one evening. And this is just 3 months later. But Mrs. Walkowicz can't forget the 3 packs of cigarette a day to calm her visibly shaking hands began the day Wanda was discovered missing. So did the long bouts of not eating. She's lost 12 pounds and the pill popping before going to bed. The medication at bedtime, she says, softens the heart-churning nightmares that send her screaming from bed. It haunts me even at the strangest times, she says. I'll be watching TV and it'll pop into my head. I'll see him doing it to her. I'll try and picture him strangling her. Sometimes Mrs. Walkowicz will say she doesn't want to talk about it, but sitting in her apartment yesterday afternoon, the words came gushing out. I'm suspicious of everyone now, she says. And that was similar in the Delphi case. If you listen to the Scene of the Crime, or the podcast that I was part of, you'd hear that almost all of them are suspicious of almost everybody, or they were for a long time. The autopsy showed she died 2 hours after her last meal. I know Wanda could not eat if she was upset. She had a nervous stomach. If Wanda knew her slayer, Mrs. Walkowicz is sure she knows him too. Whenever I walk down... I wonder when she knows when she ate last, though. Whenever I walk down Avenue D, I look at the men and wonder, could it be him? Could it be him? Even with my friends, I'm suspicious. I look at them and wonder. It turns my stomach to think he could have passed by my house and looked me square in the face. But Mrs. Walkowicz says she is not bitter. Over and over again, she says, please thank all the friends and strangers who helped me during my time of need. Then she again tells how she is trying to forget the past and concentrate on her other 2 daughters, Rita 10 and Michelle 3. That's one of the things that's really difficult for a mother. If you have multiple children and you lose one, you end up sometimes, some parents, not all. My mom was able to, keep being a great mom to the rest of us, but I can definitely see how easy it would be to sort of neglect your other kids and just sort of focus, like you're really depressed. Or you start doing, like my mom took on social issues, like anti-drug stuff. But I never felt like she completely, like she ignored us or anything. She just had a mission now, right? A different mission than work. But if you didn't have a mission, I could see just completely ignoring your other kids because you're just so devastated. The 32-year-old widow is supporting the family on $376 she is supposed to get each month from her husband, Social Security benefits. This is nearly $200 less than she received before Wanda died. The death of her daughter, however, has caused a mix-up at the Social Security office. In some months, she can't be sure if she'll receive any money at all. Once left with no money and out of food, she had to apply for emergency welfare funds. The only solution, she says, is to find a job, but job hunting isn't easy, especially if your name is Joyce Walkowicz. She had an interview at a large downtown firm last week. She said it was going great until The woman asked if she was poor little Wanda's mother. When Mrs. Walkowicz answered yes, the interview, she says, went rapidly downhill. Jeez. The interview wanted to know if I was emotionally ready to work. She said it would be doubtful if I'd get the job. Oh man, how vicious is that? Jesus. A tough break, says Mrs. Walkowicz. Then the auburn-haired woman, who looks more like 25 years old than 32, shrugs her shoulders, like life has never been easy for her. I was the black sheep of the family, she says. Her parents were divorced when she was still in diapers, and along with her two sisters and brothers, she was shuffled from one foster home to another. There were so many foster homes, she can't even remember exactly how many. But there are a lot of things I can remember. I'll never forget the people who would not take me after they had one look at me. I was too fat, they said. Then she remembers living in the Hillside Children's Center because there was a shortage of foster homes. She decided to run away to New York City one night, but the plan fell through when a night watchman caught her climbing down the fire escape. Instead of Manhattan, she experienced a long punishment from the house mother. Mrs. Walkowicz married Wanda's father when she was 19, but her husband died 6 years ago. Then she says there was some ill-fated affairs, an abortion, and another baby. And then one day she sent Wanda to the store for some milk, and the little girl never returned. Miss Walkowicz says she tried to forget, but every day there is another reminder. Yesterday afternoon, Rita came rushing into the house, asking permission to stay overnight at a playmate's house. Mrs. Walkowicz, very wary. What's the girl's name? Where does she live? How long will you stay? Then Miss Walkowicz turned to her visitor and said, "You know, I always promised Wanda she could have a pajama party. We had planned it for her birthday this year. She would have been 12 years old." Yeah, what a nightmare.
All right, me, Rebecca, and Zozo all in a room. Then Kubi walks in. What happens next?
Absolutely nothing, Billy Boy Blue. They all look into the room, slam the door back, and bolt. Yeah. All right, about a week after that, Wanda's case still active, they're saying. For the second time in 2 weeks, Citizens for a Decent Community will try again to jog the memories of the neighbors of 11-year-old Wanda Walkowicz. But that was it. So that is the second one. You guys ready for the third one now? And don't forget, everybody, I'm just a cup of coffee, all right? I know this isn't like last night's show where everybody got to tune in, but it was actually harder work today where I literally had to look up all this stuff. Yeah, this one is literally, that's just brutal, all this. Yeah, we're really at like at a quarter of our normal night right now. Yeah, I'll wait. Yep, be back in a little bit. Oh boy. Thanks, Daudio Caspian, Horses Rock, and Nan Sullivan. I don't know, Alifair. I'm just going to do my own thing, though, okay? I'm not going to look up the one that you're talking about. I'm just doing my own thing. All right. I'm going to move on to the third one now. It's the 1973 case of Michelle Maenza. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it or not. But an intensive search is underway for a missing 11-year-old girl in Rochester, where 2 other girls have disappeared and been slain in 2 years. Police comb yards, doorways, parks, parking lots, and isolated roads for a trace of Michelle Maenza. She disappeared Monday while walking 9 blocks from school to her home on the city's east side. I keep thinking of those other 2 girls, said Michelle's father, Clarence Maenza. Carmen Colon, 10, was slain 2 years ago, and Wanda Walkowicz, 11, was killed last year. Both girls disappeared from their own neighborhoods and later were found slain in remote sections of the outskirts of the city. Let's see. So this is Michelle Maenza. Okay, Carmen, Wanda, and Michelle lived 5 to 8 miles apart in different areas of the city. School chums said they last saw Michelle Monday afternoon, about halfway between school and her home. Relatives said she had never run away from home and never was late getting home from school. Her mother, who has 2 other daughters and 2 sons, was admitted to Strong Memorial Hospital Tuesday and placed under sedation. Michelle's father, who is separated from her mother, said he spent most of Monday night looking for Michelle. He said her feelings were easily hurt sometimes by just the wrong word, and said she also was easily swayed. Maenza said, compared to other girls of her age, she seemed immature, more like 8 or 9. Well, I mean, she's 11, okay. If someone picks her up, he said, I hope he doesn't hurt her and lets her go where she can be found. Hey, thanks, Berserker Loki. Yeah, let's see. The intense search for an 11-year-old girl missing since Monday continued early today, accompanied by a growing fear of what the searchers might find. Michelle Maenza, or I don't know how to pronounce that. Is it Maenza? M-A-E-N-Z-A. A pupil at school, and don't guess. If you know, type it in. Don't go, well, it's like this, because you know. Let's see. Michelle Maenza, pupil at School 33, 500 Webster Avenue, was last seen near Webster Avenue and Ackerman Street. So, let's see. So here is where she went to school, and she was last seen right here. And guess what? She lives right there. So it's like, here's school, again, just kind of getting close to home, and then boom, she's gone. We're not too encouraged, Sparacino said, that same detective. The longer she remains missing, the more concerned we are, but all we know now is that she's missing. More than 40 city policemen joined in the search. She was described as a white, chubby, 5'1", 120 pounds, with collar length, dark brown hair and hazel eyes. She was last seen wearing a 3/4 length purple hooded coat with silver trim, purple slacks with a zigzag pattern, and knee-high black boots. She is the daughter of Carolyn Maenza of 25 Webster Crescent. Let me see if... Oh, I did get that right. God, that's cool. I remember the number now. And Christopher Maenza of 21 Hall Street. Michelle lives with her mother. Mrs. Maenza was taken to... Hey, thanks, Billy Boy Blue. Was taken to And look at, see, this is the house right there. And see, I didn't read the article. I just saw this house. And I knew it said Webster Crescent Home. And so this is the street, Webster Crescent. And then I just went up and down the street, and there was only one. All the houses had a similar look. Okay, so take a look at that. You've got the door on the left, right? With the two windows here. And imagine, this is 1973, right? So the door's on the left there. You know, that one doesn't look like it.
Too bad I have to go to bed. Tell Kubi that shush is the best for me. Will ya gray?
Oh, hey, Kubi, you're the best, he said. All right, right there. See how the sort of the door awning is slanted like that? Well, that's not how that one is, right? So anyways, as I was traveling down, looking at each one of these, I think it was the one on the end. I think it was this one right here. Just a second. Yeah, it was this one. So I saw this one. Even though the window was different, everything else was exactly the same. So you even notice right there, see that slight angle on the, right there, and the siding, and then there's two windows, and that, the awning part of the roof is correct. See that? Especially that thing, how there's a slight angle there. And then look, I remembered it from earlier. It says 25, so that was the right one. And you can see, I'm not making it up because the pin is right in front of it right there. Memorial Hospital yesterday morning. In addition to the city police, the Monroe County Sheriff's Department has been alerted. In various town police forces are searching parks, so she's still missing at this point. City police are concentrating their search on Webster Avenue, Bay Street, and side streets and run off Webster Avenue towards Goodman Plaza. Members of the police tactical unit went house to house yesterday and they also searched vacant houses, parks, and deserted areas. So anyways, at this point she's still missing. And then we're going to move to the next day. Killing hauntingly similar. 2 years ago it was Carmen, then Wanda last April, and yesterday Michelle. Like a grade B movie repeating itself, the murders are gruesome and mysteriously similar, but reality haunts the dramatic touches. 3 Rochester girls, none older than 11, are dead. The 2 girl slangs of Carmen Colon 10 and Wanda Walkowicz 11 are unsolved despite widespread publicity, rewards offered for information, and intensive police searches. After Michelle Maenza 11 was found dead yesterday, police suggested the same person may be responsible for all 3 slangs. So now they're putting all 3 of them together. Before they weren't sure about the 2. All 3 girls were said to be walking alone in the late afternoon within a few blocks of their homes. Yes, I mean, it's so freaking similar. I mean, did you see? I've shown you guys. They're all right next to their home. And they were at a place that wasn't even far from their home. And when they disappeared, all 3 were reported to have been raped and strangled. Their bodies were found on the side of a road about 10 miles from their homes. And oddly, each had the same initials in her first and last name. You know, they are bringing that up. It's not like they, didn't notice that themselves. I don't think that's the main thing. Special telephone lines and reward funds were set up to aid in the investigation of the first 2 slangs. Billboards that included the dead girls' pictures urged people to be secret witnesses and said no clue was too small. When Wanda's body was found, Carmen's case was reviewed. Again, police say they found no concrete leads. Now the 3rd slang. Let's see. Now the 3rd slang. Let me open up this. And look at that's actually, they have a picture of her down there. I don't know what we're looking at there, but that's actually apparently her body right there. And it's found off of Eddy Road And I do have this one. So she was found up somewhere in this general area right here. And then her coat was found just down the road right here. So another case where the coat was found in a different location. I mean, they got to be related. Police said today they had detailed description of a man who might be the rapist and killer of 11-year-old Michelle Maenza and 2 other girls. Detectives said they had got the description from a woman who said she had seen the man face to face. They declined to reveal the woman's name or describe the circumstances under which she had seen the man. They also said an artist was preparing a sketch of the suspect. Yeah, so here's why I have these mapped out like this. Okay, so this is just again a crude map, but it was generally accurate. It was pretty crazy. So here's Barnes Road right there. Okay, and this is Eddy Road. And here you go. You got Barnes Road, and there's Eddy Road, and then you even have this little triangle shape right there. Well, look at that. That's right here. That's that triangle. So that's where her body was found. And then apparently her coat was found somewhere just right around in this area. Okay, so that's about as close as I can get. That's the best description that there is. And let's see. They also said an artist was preparing a sketch of the suspect. Walking from school, Michelle disappeared last Monday while walking home from school. A fireman found her body Wednesday in a ditch along a road in neighboring Wayne County. Police said an autopsy revealed she had been raped and strangled. Michelle was the 3rd Rochester girl to be raped and strangled within 2 years and under similar circumstances. Carmen Colon, 10, disappeared in November 1971. While on an errand for her mother, she was found slain several days later. Last April, Wanda Walkowicz, 11, vanished from her neighborhood after being sent to a delicatessen. She was found slain the following morning. So, and in her case, that's just crazy, man. See, look at where all the bodies are found. Like, see how the city's here, and then you've got a body there, and over here. This one's the closest, but again, it's on the other side of the river. You see, so it was kind of like that made up for some distance in their mind. Okay, so those are the 3 that we've heard about. Okay, so we've got Carmen Colon, CC, Wanda Walkowicz, WW, Michelle Maenza, and then I found another one on my own, and that case was amazing. I mean, I actually just found it because I mentioned somebody else's name, one of the other 3 girls' name in it, and guess what her name is? Michelle McMurray. Okay, I mean, it's like another name, 3 M or 2 M's in that one. Okay, which is kind of weird. Now you got 4 of them. This is 1976, though. It was 3 years later. But here we go, girl 6. So there are some differences in this one, and I don't want anybody typing in anything about it. Oh yeah, I read about that. I don't want you to put it in there. Okay, just let me go through this. Girl 6 strangled in J Street home. The strangled body of 6-year-old Michelle McMurray was found outside her apartment building at 540 J Street about 4 a.m. yesterday, an hour after the girl was reported missing. Police said last night They have no strong suspects in the slaying and multiple rape of the girl. I'm not sure, that's a bad sentence there. There is no evidence to link the attack with 3 other unsolved rape strangulations of city girls in the last 4.5 years, according to Chief of Rochester Police. Like the others, she was raped and murdered, and she happened to have double initials. See, there you go again. If you can make something out of that, yeah, I mean, it doesn't probably mean anything. It's just weird, right? Now you've got a 4th. It's crazy. The girl had been raped at least twice before she was murdered, according to an autopsy performed yesterday by the Monroe County Medical Examiner. I wonder how you'd know that. The girl's mother, Deborah Ruggles, 22, who was separated, told police she last saw her daughter alive about 2 a.m. The mother went out to buy cigarettes at a neighborhood bar and left the child alone at the time. Man, she'd be put in prison for that now. That's ridiculous. Or jail, anyways. Now, the child alone at the time, police said. When she returned about 3 a.m., you're leaving your 6-year-old at home at 3 a.m. to go buy cigarettes? What a joke. Police responding to the mother's call found Michelle partly clothed about an hour later in a grassy area near the driveway. So she was actually found outside right next to the house. Police investigators are assuming the girl was slain by someone she or her mother knew. He said the slayer apparently entered the house through the front door and simulated a break-in after raping and killing the girl. A fire escape ladder. Well, I know, but how do you know he didn't break in and do that? A fire escape ladder leading from an open door to the second floor apartment was apparently pulled down by the slayer as he was leaving with the girl's body, police said. No personal property was reported missing from the apartment, police said. The killer tried to make it look as though the apartment had been broken into, to throw police investigators off track. Police said last night they had interviewed 2 suspects in connection with the slaying, and both were released late yesterday afternoon. A spokesman for the Monroe Medical Examiner's office, let's see, whether she'd eaten, office comment on whether the eaten food, as the other strangulation victims had before being killed. So they were all fed before they were killed. Maybe that was hey, do you guys want something, here's a, like something yummy to eat, like a, I don't know, ding dong or some shit. I'd like to know what was in their stomachs, because now it sounds like they're saying that all the other girls had just eaten. But how do we know they didn't eat at home and then they were killed? I mean, kids eat all the time, right? Yeah, I guess the parents might know that. Well, I didn't feed them anything, so they assume that the person gave it to them. I don't know. Anyways, I'm gonna move on to the next one. I mean, not the next case, but another article. Few clues. Suspect in rape killing. 12 city homicide detectives found few clues or suspect. Now, let me show you one thing that was interesting about this particular case here is, she lives right there. Look how close she lived to where Carmen's home is, geographically. And then she was found right next to this house. We can see all the elements that they were talking about, I'm sure. I'm sure there's still a fire escape. There's the building. Maybe there was... Let's see if we can go down the street and then look back there. Yep, there it is. Look at that. Look how crazy that is. So she was taking down that fire escape and probably put in the yard that's behind that building there. Few suspects or clues in rape slang. You know, they just aren't finding any information. The physical crimes unit headed to Lieutenant Louis Campazani has dropped virtually all other cases temporarily to work on this one. The girl was found dead outside her apartment building at 540 J Street. An autopsy by the Monroe County Medical Examiner's Office found that the McMurray girl had been strangled, apparently with the hands, and raped at least twice, authorities said. How do you think that they would know that? Can anybody answer that? Like, how would they know that she was raped twice? Like, give me some kind of a... like something an indicator that would make that obvious. No, but how would you know by that, Gene, that's just a ridiculous answer there. How would you know? No, see, but how would you know that, though? That doesn't mean anything, Michelle. See, your answer doesn't mean anything. It could have been... Neither of those answers give the answer. I could make a case the other way for all of those things that you just said. There's got to be something else. And see the amount, who knows what that means. Yeah, maybe that. See, maybe what Ozzy's saying, maybe they found, semen in two completely different places. Okay? So here might be the answer. Maybe that was, vaginal and anal. Two separate incidents. They found stuff in both. They found semen maybe in both areas, okay? Or oral, perhaps. But all the other stuff you guys are saying, that all of those could be either way. So there you go. That's crazy. Ah, man, freaking monsters everywhere, everybody. Monsters everywhere. Yeah, I just said that, Rebecca. Huh? What does it have to do with what we're talking about? He had kids in school or something. Let's see. As far as theories go, they're not in our minds at all. Fanagosi said, "We tried that, and they weren't very productive. In the last 3 cases, we're looking for facts. Similarities do exist, however, in the recent slaying and the rape strangulations of Carmen Colon, Wanda Walkowicz, and Michelle Maenza. Those killings are also unsolved. Each of these girls had the same first and last initials. Each was raped and strangled. Their mother were all welfare recipients, as in Michelle McMurray's mother, Deborah Ruggles." Oh, that's interesting. They're all on welfare. All 4 of these. Their deaths also fit a pattern of November-April killing. Carmen Colon 10 was found dead November 18, 1971, 2 days after she was reported missing. The next, Wanda Walkowicz, was found dead April 28, 1973. The third girl, Michelle Maenza 11, was found dead November 28, 1973, and now the McMurray child again in April. So let's see that again. November, April, November, April. Wow, that's crazy, right? I mean, they are looking for these crazy little patterns there, but that is weird, right? There are differences, though. The bodies of the first 3 were found outside the city, right? That is a difference. And that she wasn't wandering somewhere. She wasn't walking from school or doing an errand. But Michelle McMurray was unusually tall for her age, just under 5 feet tall and weighing 58 pounds, according to Dr. John F. Edlin. Edlin said the girl had numerous scratches on her neck and both the front and back of her body. The scratches, though, were similar to one of them. She also had abrasions and bruises on her back. Say abrasions and bruises 5 times quick. Well, you didn't type it before I said it, Rebecca. You're just on a delay. So, on your perspective, you did, sure. Yeah. Edlin said the girl had numerous scratches on her face and on both of the front and back of her body. She also had abrasions and bruises on her back and on her face, he said. The neck scratches appear to indicate she was strangled with hands, he said. The girl, though, didn't appear to have been beaten, Edlin said. They were injuries one might find if the person was a victim of a traumatic rape, Edlin said. Semen was found on the body, but Edlin said no comment when asked if the characteristics of that semen, such as blood type, matched any evidence found on the other girls. Police also refused to comment on that. Fanagrosis said police haven't yet been able to establish exactly how that man entered the girl's apartment, how he left, or how the girl's body got to a nearby driveway where she was found. Mrs. Ruggles, 22, left the apartment about 2 a.m. to get a pack of cigarettes at a nearby all-night restaurant, police said. Michelle was left alone asleep at the apartment, and the apartment door wasn't chained locked, so Mrs. Ruggles could let herself in. The mother returned about 3 a.m. Wow, so what were you doing for that whole hour if you were just going to go buy cigarettes? Accompanied by a man she met at the restaurant. Ah, there you go. Okay. Police said Michelle, however, was gone, and after searching briefly, Miss Ruggles called police. Fanagrosi said there were a number of possibilities of how the killer entered and left the apartment. Campazzoni said the police are getting some tips from the public when one of the telephone lines are free when the news media aren't on it. Okay, let's see. Slaying of girls related. Or it's a question. Although discounting speculation, city detectives yesterday said that 2, possibly 3 men may be responsible for the 4 rape strangulations of young Rochester girls since 1971. Huh. Major Anthony Fanagosi, chief of city detectives, said evidence appears to indicate that the killer of Michelle McMurray, 7, found dead Sunday, isn't the same man who committed the past 3 slayings. So they must have checked the DNA. The murder of 2 other victims, Wanda Walkowicz, 11, found... So they must have evidence that those 3 are connected. But the killer of Carmen Colon, 10, found dead November 18, 1971, may be a 3rd person, he said. Oh, weird. So that's a different... So maybe they think that these other 3 are the same. Let's see. The murder of 2 other victims, Wanda Walkowicz, 11, found dead April 28, Michelle Maenza, 11, November 20, and probably was the same man, Fanagrosi said. But the killer of Carmen Colon, 10, found dead November 18, 1971, may be a 3rd person. The city police, in a news conference yesterday, downplayed speculation on whether the cases are related. Huh. Well, man, that is insane if there's 3 of them. Anyways, I'm just going to skip through all this stuff. Seems like another night where... let's see. So right here we've got... so in the case of Michelle McMurray, they did arrest somebody, a 64-year-old Florida Keys man whose DNA was obtained from a discarded cigarette has been charged, this is 2007, with strangling a 7-year-old girl in Rochester 31 years ago. Michelle McMurray, who was raped before being killed, vanished in the middle of an April night in 1976 from an apartment building where James Pressler worked as a caretaker. Her mother said she left her alone at 2 a.m. So that person, they did know the person, I guess. Left her alone at 2 a.m. to buy cigarettes at a bar and called police an hour later when she returned home to find the girl's bed empty. Pressler, who lives in Big Pine Key near the southern tip of Florida, was arrested and charged Tuesday with second-degree murder. Really? Second degree, huh? And is expected to be returned here for trial. At a court appearance Wednesday, he refused to waive extradition So Green will ask Governor Elliot Spitzer, remember Elliot Spitzer, to file a warrant with Florida Governor Charlie Crist, compelling his return. The process usually takes several weeks. The girl's partially clothed body was found in a grassy area near the apartment building soon after police were alerted, and Pressler was at the scene when investigators arrived. He lived in the same building as the victim and was talked to by police, but basically the technology just didn't exist to get the link. So he probably did fake it like they thought he did. So there must have been an indication that showed how it looked like he made it look like a break-in. Because he could have just gotten in, right? Investigators here recently developed undisclosed evidence about Pressler, and sheriff deputies in Florida recently trailed him and collected DNA from a cigarette he discarded that matched evidence gathered in 1976. Pressler has lived in Florida for more than 20 years. Authorities searched his home and confiscated some unspecified items, said Paige Patterson. Thanks, Fiber Sleuth. So that's kind of cool that they did make an arrest in this one. So it sounds like he was just a random person, but he ended up dying, I think, awaiting trial. This guy died in prison or jail, so he never really got to be prosecuted. But you sort of wonder if maybe he had something to do with some of the others, but probably not. Now that you look at it, but it's weird. Again, you have the same initials, right? Anyways, I'm gonna call it a night, everybody, and I thought those were all pretty interesting. The couple more articles on Pressler, but I don't think he has anything to do with the other three. And it sounds like they think that one of the other ones isn't related, so there might be... I wonder if they've checked the DNA lately to make sure. All right, anyways, hey, thanks everybody for showing up tonight. Make this one a little shorter. Oh, thank you to Debbie Perez. Thank you very much. On PayPal there. Awesome. Yeah, that was pretty depressing stories, but I'm covering the cases that you guys sent me. Right, so this one now is going to go into the completed folder. And I have a whole bunch more from the show yesterday. Like 10. Okay. So. Nah, I'm not going to do it. I can tell this isn't one of those nights that is interesting. You can always tell. Like I always tell you, the super chats are sort of how I determine. It's like, yeah, people just aren't doing it. That's why there was so much random talk about other stuff. But anyways, I got this out there, and I thought it was a pretty interesting... it was a lot more interesting to go over each case individually instead of just start with, hey, here's... because I think after a while you sort of got to know each of the situations. What's weird is when you look at it like this, look at this. See this right here? That's the Wanda's cluster. That's Michelle's cluster. And this one right here is the, let's see, not Michelle. Well, there's two Michelles actually. So it's kind of strange how there's like this little small area where they were last seen and where they were supposed to go. And then all of a sudden they turn into... it turns into a murder. That's why those ones seem different than this one right here. So you've got the Carmen one. She was right there, went to the store and got abducted in that little tiny distance right there. Then you've got Michelle. She was at school, and then she just needed to get home here and was last seen right there, almost made it home. And then Wanda, She was at home, went to the grocery store, actually was on her way home and was abducted right there. So just in that little tiny window right there. So that one, that little cluster, that cluster, and you know what's weird is, let's see if we can figure out. So Wanda's over there, Michelle was found way over here, so it went boom, boom, and then like that. So like kind of like the spokes of a wheel. They were all out and around us. Thanks, Dadio, Caspian Horses Rock, Lady, and Zozo. Okay, so that was kind of the recap there, and interestingly, they all had similar names. I got this folder up for other cases. Yeah, I mean, it's way too long to go out and get cigarettes. Literally, you know, listen, her mom was just one of those irresponsible mothers that's out there who at 3 in the morning left her kid at home and went to when they say a restaurant, I'm sure there was a bar in the restaurant. And she went in there and had a couple drinks, met a guy there, bought some cigarettes, and just wanted to have fun. And then when she gets home, her child's dead because she wasn't there, okay? That whole thing is on her shoulders, okay? You know, the psychos, it's most at fault, but she should have been at home with their child. Don't you think? At 2 in the morning. That's not the time you go out and leave for an hour. Yeah, so it's kind of cool to go over each one of those. I'm sure there's a lot of, rumors and crap going around over the years, but obviously none of them have been solved yet. I would think that they would go do some genetic genealogy at this point. Wouldn't you? I would. Okay, everybody. Well, that is it. I'm going to go watch some TV or something. But even then, we were still on for 2 hours and 17 minutes. Seemed quicker. Or, quicker than that. Yeah, it's always interesting to see it like you're there, right? You can actually see what things look like. But, all right, everybody, I appreciate you guys showing up. And be on tomorrow, kind of an early show. I might come back on again later as well, but I'm going to do one early in the afternoon. So we will see you guys tomorrow. All right, so make sure that you wash your hands, maintain your social distancing, and wear a mask whenever the hell you go outside. Or if you're anywhere near people, indoors specifically. All right? So thank you very much. And as I always say, everybody, until next time, be safe out there. Yeah, I've been doing this true crime thing for quite a while now. And during this whole time, I have not seen one person that is a crime dissector, plug rejector. I'm a certified human lie detector. Gonna get ya on a stretcher if you try and play me like an old projector. Crime sector is my nectar. Professor Gregel's gonna give another lecture. Crime collector, freak connector, and I'm always gonna be a pup protector. Fool deflector, interceptor, and I'm meaner than a specter with a vector on his pector. With all respect, y'all, just remember I've a temper fucking check ya. I have no agenda, I'm no pretender, and I'll serve it to you straight without the blender. And in the end, I'm gonna send ya on a mission to reveal the true offender. Yeah, so I'll just get right back to work. All right, everybody? Talk to you later.
All right, well, see you guys later. Have a good one.